Kia ora tātou katoa, I'm Johnson Raela and welcome back to the Pacific. And things look a little different this week with Alisi taking a little break, but we're joined by two of our reporters from the region. So ladies, please introduce yourselves.
Wakaturanga saka kina vein delania vutambo na nongo vanolo manio viti. Na yadangu Olive Movono. Bula.
Maloila maleho eki molele Tonga kotoa. I'm Marianne Gupu. And Adele Fruin, our Samoan reporter, will also be joining us a bit later on. But for now, let's take a look at what's coming up on the show.
Fijian domestic workers facing unfair treatment in Tonga.
The Cook Islands Prime Minister's first international interview since signing a controversial deal with China.
And Polyfest turns 50.
But first, some news with Lethe, and the Catholic community in PNG are celebrating.
Yes, they are, Johnson, because Pope Francis is preparing to canonize Papua New Guinea's first saint. Born on the island of East New Britain in 1912, Peter Torot led a Catholic mission during the Japanese occupation in World War II. The occupation saw many missionaries interned. Despite this, Torot continued to minister, particularly against polygamy. His actions were reported to the Japanese troops, and he was imprisoned and executed.
Pope Francis has mentioned this from the start, that this is the kind of saint we need today to strengthen and to inspire families.
In his 1995 visit to Papua New Guinea, Pope John Paul II had Torot beatified, a step in a four-part process which paves the way for sainthood.
I think it's the biggest news that we can have ever, given the this uniqueness of the fact. Peter Torot is the first Melanesian to be raised to this level in the Catholic Church.
Back here in Australia, Tonga's Queen Nanasipau'u Tukuaho met with Tongan diaspora in Sydney to celebrate the 99th year anniversary of Queen Charlotte College. Her time in the country also included a visit to MLC School, a sister school of the college.
It was about a year ago that Principal Sella invited us to go over to Queen Charlotte College, and that was really the reinvigoration of a friendship that had gone back to 1930.
In partnership with MLC, Queen Charlotte College has launched an international class with Year 6 students and teachers studying under the New South Wales curriculum.
I think the fact that we can be exposed to higher standard of learning and also of teaching, so we want our teachers and our students to benefit from this.
I'm optimistic that the partnership we are cultivating will continue to prosper, serving as a beacon of unity and an inclusive pathway for our students and the future of our two great nations.
And now to a story Marian and I have worked on together.
Tonga and Fiji share strong historical and cultural ties. To this day, many Fijians will leave the shores in search of work in the kingdom.
But beneath the glimmer of golden opportunity, many workers find themselves in bleak situations, with some experiencing underpayment and even abuse. Here's Marian with the story.
And they told me, you have now, don't take any suitcase or what, only your bag. They'll prepare everything for you from there.
When Kinisi Mere Turanga was first offered a job in Tonga to care for a newborn baby, she leapt at the chance to travel and secure stable employment. But when she arrived there, she quickly realized her employers, a Tongan couple, were wanting more than they had let on.
Did you feel like a slave?
Yeah. Well, I was run away because too much work. Tired.
For 65 Australian dollars a week, Kinisi Mere says she would clean the yard, the house, cook all the family's meal, and take care of the couple's 3 children. She says she often worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, with only a brief respite for Sunday worship. Kini says her employer took her passport, would lock her in her room at night, and she was discouraged from engaging with other Fijian workers.
The ladies was very strong, the law to me.
The laws for you.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to go anywhere else. I have to go to church Sunday, come back, stay home.
4 years with the same family working those long hours. Did things change for the better? Did it get better? Did your pay ever go up?
No, go up.
20 years on, safe in her home in Suva, these events have had a lasting impact on Kinisi. But it's an experience that's all too common. Many Fijians are brought over as domestic workers or seek employment in the hospitality or construction industries.
I come by visiting visa and they promised me they will do my working visa in here.
Manasa, not his real name, has been working for a subcontractor on a construction project in Tonga's capital, Nuku'alofa.
Construction, we will be working according to the stage. So our money comes when we finish one stage. We finish the roofing, we taking half pay of the roofing. And they said full pay us on the next pay. They keeping on doing that till no money. We've been having hard times with false promises.
According to Tonga's Ministry of Trade and Economic Development, Tonga currently has no labour or employment laws in place. But an employment relation bill was passed in Parliament in 2020 and is awaiting royal assent.
The Act remains a priority for the current government, so once the Employment Relations Act receives royal assent and is enacted, the government is fully prepared to implement it.
In the meantime, the ministry says some workers receive written contracts, others are done verbally, and workers are protected by the contract they sign with their employer here in Tonga.
Oku fo wai kai ngā whisi, ka pau te ke vai koe hāhanga I palo palema o nau wha fo wai.
Koe taim whuki koe, ka yaha whisi o mai mi whisi ki hao ngāo hen, pau ke hū mai whaka kontreke. Koe hao mai koe ni ngai ai mi ni. Koe nau whitu taki whaka mea pe ai pa hao, si hao I kai ngāo, wai ngāo e. Nau tō mai ki he ni, whihala aki, e nau a lea ma.
Tongan Fijian advocate Vainikolo operates on Natale, a social house and a refuge for Fijian workers to share company, conversation, and of course, a shell of kava. Many who seek refuge at Onitale not only experience wage theft and visa issues, but in some cases, verbal and physical abuse. Vainikolo often acts as a mediator between the workers and their employers, but Fijian workers aren't reporting their employers to the authorities.
Kau tui pe mahal koe kai ki nā wanga ilo kai whaunga pe kuna ule whitu whi mau tokon kai ka koe ki nau tolu koko ka muri ka o mai nā tolu ki heno ngā aue a kia ka kai Tonga o ku blawa pe ke mau tokon ka ki nau tolu ka pau, especially ka pau nau whi mawahi pe whapopula I ngai ko vi nau tolu.
Not every Fijian worker has a negative experience, and many of the issues can be put down to a lack of regulation and oversight from authorities.
Tonga is a friendly island of Fiji. That's why we feel comfortable here. We are neighbors. We can take them straight to the police. We're just trying to find a way to tackle that problem for them to stop doing it.
In the end, Manasa says he and his colleagues did manage to get their full wages paid, and despite the problems, he wants to keep working in Tonga.
That's all of our cries now, is our visa, to get our working visa. We are okay in working in Tonga.
In August this year, the Cook Islands will celebrate 60 years of self-governance in free association with Aotearoa. But that relationship has been soured in recent months, with Cook Islands at the centre of a geopolitical storm after New Zealand was left out of discussions around a deal with China. The Cook Islands doesn't usually make international headlines, but a deal with China earlier this year changed everything.
A strategic partnership deal between China and the Cook Islands has led to protests.
China is the third biggest development partner to the Cook Islands after New Zealand and Australia. In a new joint action plan for comprehensive strategic partnership between the two nations, China will contribute towards areas such as trade, infrastructure, education, fisheries, and the sustainable use of ocean resources. But why was New Zealand annoyed?
New Zealand doesn't want its realm country signing confidential secret deals with China.
For almost 60 years, the Cook Islands has been self-governed in free association with New Zealand. It means the island nation conducts its own affairs, but Aotearoa needs to assist when it comes to foreign affairs, disasters and defence.
To those who have questioned the level of consultation with New Zealand, let me be clear. Our engagement has been consistent, respectful and open.
New Zealand has accused Prime Minister Mark Brown's government of violating the 2001 Free Association Agreement between the two nations that entitles Cook Islanders to New Zealand citizenship in exchange for consulting with New Zealand on issues of defence and security.
We've got past arrangements, constitutional arrangements, which require consultation with us, and dare I say it, China knows that.
PM Brown also proposed the idea of a Cook Islands passport to strengthen the country's national identity and sovereignty. The idea was quickly squashed after backlash from New Zealand. The commotion caused a backlash in the Cook Islands too. The lack of transparency about the China deal, growing concerns on seabed mining, and the fear of losing their New Zealand passport culminated in public protests with hundreds marching to Parliament House.
We do not want to see our land and our oceans sold to the highest bidder.
Now the dust has somewhat settled. Joining us for his first international interview since all the commotion is Cook Islands Prime Minister Mark Brown. Kia ora, Prime Minister, and me take atu paka for joining the Pacific again.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be on your show and also an opportunity to talk to you, but also talk to your listeners, to our people in Australia.
Firstly, the Joint Action Plan partnership with China. Why did you think this was an agreement the Cook Islands needed?
One of the things that really prompted us in terms of our formal diplomatic relations and engagements with other countries was in 2020, our graduation to high income status. What that meant was access to concessional financing for countries like us, to grant funding was no longer available. So we needed to build and develop relationships with other countries, with other development partners. It is something that we've done similar in 2022. We signed our partnership agreement with New Zealand, the Wakahaurua Agreement. Also in 2022, we signed our agreement with Australia, the O Tumanaba Agreement. So this is just another step, if you like, in our engagement with our development partners that we wanted to work closely with. It was also something that we needed to do to diversify our development relationships with other countries and not to be too dependent on one development partner such as New Zealand.
Do you think the Cook Islands people clearly understand what this agreement means for them? Now, they're concerned about putting the country further into debt, and what sort of commercial agreements might this open the door to?
In terms of debt, the Cook Islands has probably one of the best debt profiles in the Pacific. So this agreement, there is no debt that we've entered into. There is no commitments that we've made in terms of projects. We're looking at things like trade, tourism, agriculture support, aquaculture support as well for seafood and seafood products, infrastructure development. For a country like ours, what we see is China being able to complement what we have in place with traditional partners like New Zealand, like Australia, and others. So for us, it's a matter of being innovative. It's a matter of reaching out and seeing what opportunities there are for us to help us achieve our development priorities, and also to help us achieve the infrastructure needs that they're quite immense for a country like the Cook Islands with 15 islands, with the islands spread over great distances.
Now, New Zealand has said that it's reviewing the agreement. Have they told you what the outcome of this review is?
No, we're waiting for New Zealand to provide feedback on their review of the documents that have been signed. There should be nothing in the strategic partnership that we've signed with China that should cause any surprises to anyone. There are no arrangements for security that they were fearful of that might be contained in these agreements. We very much rely on our traditional security arrangements that are in place with our traditional partners of New Zealand and Australia.
Now, do you think New Zealand wants to rewrite the declaration to give it more specific veto powers over foreign policy decisions the Cook Islands makes? You know, something similar to the Whalepili Union Australia has with Tuvalu.
The specific aspect of the Whalepili agreement with Australia and Tuvalu provides Australia with a veto over any security agreement that Tuvalu may enter into with another country. That is quite a sacrifice of its sovereignty in that regard. For the Cook Islands, I don't think we would be looking at a review of our arrangement that would see us winding back the clock. If there's anything, I would see a review of our arrangement which recognizes the fact that the Cook Islands, and not only is it one of the first countries to achieve high income status in the region, but is one that is well respected within the region for being able to have its own voice, but one that recognizes the Pacific way of doing things.
Now, we know that you're supportive of exploring deep-sea mining. What's your response to critics who say that your government is placing profit ahead of people?
Our country has very high expectations of income that people need, of services that they demand in terms of health services, education services, and overall government services. All of these require a certain level of investment and a certain level of income. If we are wanting to do more, if we want to grow the economy, there is only a certain extent that our tourism can be able to grow out to without affecting and impacting negatively the very environment that makes our country attractive to people. So we're certainly not putting profit as the motivation for our country. The motivation here we have for our country is the benefit of our people.
You also faced a vote of no confidence. Now, how are you rebuilding the trust in the community?
I think the protest was built around misinformation. We're no strangers to opposition and to protests here in our country. Cook Islanders are very forward when it comes to putting their point of view across. So these are things that, as a government, we've taken on board. Certainly, I've taken on board and will make every effort to ensure that our people are better informed as we go forward.
Me te ge tupaka, Prime Minister, for your time.
Me te ge mata.
And you can see an extended version of that interview on the ABC News YouTube channel. Now, let's bring in our Samoa reporter Adele Fruin to bring us some news. Talofa lava, Adele. Now we're heading back to PNG because the building industry is about to take a hit.
Talofa Johns, that's right. One of Papua New Guinea's most well-known construction firms is leaving the country after 70 years of nation-building projects. It's a move that will affect hundreds of local jobs and points to broader issues in the construction sector. Hugo Hodge has the story.
Parliament House in Port Moresby. It's the heart of PNG's democracy.
By any international standards, the new parliament is a success, both for its aesthetic appeal and also for its functional aspects.
New Zealand-owned Fletcher Morobe, the company responsible for constructing this iconic building in the 80s, is leaving the country after nearly 70 years in PNG. A company spokesperson said it had decided to focus resources elsewhere in the Pacific.
From the end of 2025, the business will only consider new work in PNG on a project-by-project basis.
Jackson's Airport, Grand Papua Hotel, Sir John Guy's Stadium, Bank of PNG, and Gordon's Market are some of the Fletcher Morobe projects over the years. In a statement to ABC, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Lands and Physical Planning, John Rosso, says the company helped shape the face of the country.
Its exit will no doubt be felt not only in terms of reduced competition in the construction industry, but also in the level of professionalism, reliability, and quality that
Fletcher Morobe Construction have found the magic formula to deliver projects in PNG. There's foreign currency challenges. It can be quite difficult to identify talent and keep projects within budget because of all of the logistical issues. So that's what makes it so disappointing that they're no longer going to be a part of it moving forward.
The company's exit will impact 380 local jobs, with industry insiders saying PNG had become too difficult for Fletcher Morobe to operate in, citing increasing costs and poor security. A survey out last month of 100 CEOs in PNG ranked foreign exchange and law and order as the most critical impediments to business. Local construction companies are also losing work to Chinese state-owned firms entering the market. Pete Connolly, a security and strategy expert, says those firms are winning the majority of contracts with bids costing 30 to 50% less.
Some of these Chinese state-owned enterprises are quite capable of delivering high quality. It's just they end up having to deliver lower quality because of the costing structure which they've chosen to take on. From a developing country's perspective, they'd probably rather have the infrastructure regardless of quality than not have it at all. If you're going for lower quality, it's going to cause another problem in a few years.
Political scientist Michael Kabuni says it's concerning to see reputable companies like Fletcher Morobe leaving the country.
As far as data goes, Papua New Guinea construction companies are finding it very difficult to get contracts. I think they've been priced out of PNG.
And now Aotearoa, where the sound of chee-hoos are echoing around Auckland high schools as students gear up for Polyfest, the world's biggest Polynesian cultural festival. Cultural groups from different schools will perform on 5 different stages across the 3-day competition. With Polyfest celebrating its 50th anniversary, this year's high school intake has already broken records.
So it's almost 300 school groups. They're expecting more than 11,000 students performing this year.
From Polyfest performer to Polyfest mum, journalist Indira Stewart is kicking off festivities with the release of a documentary, uncovering the little-known stories of the event's teenage founders.
1976 was a really racially tense era in Aotearoa. We had the Māori land marches. It was the peak of the Dawn Raids where Pacific people were targeted for being overstayers. You had these 16 and 17-year-old kids wanting to embrace their friends, embrace each other. It's such a taonga, it's such a treasure that for 50 years, schools, teachers and punake tutors have been able to be custodians of and pass down to the next generation of Māori and Pasifika.
We're headed to New Caledonia now to meet a proud Kanak man and professional soccer player who's right now in the Solomon Islands representing his team, Tiga Sports, at the OSC Nations Cup. He also happens to be deaf. Gabriela Machin with the story.
C'est celui qui communique le plus avec ses partenaires, c'est Jimmy.
Jimmy Cottrip is the first ever deaf player in Kanaki New Caledonia's top football league.
Jimmy est quelqu'un de très intelligent et très attentif. Et en fait, on dit que le sport a souvent un langage universel. Et du coup, ça se traduit avec Jimmy où il n'y a pas besoin vraiment d'expliquer, d'avoir une traduction.
Jimmy says being deaf even has advantages on the field.
Déjà en tant que joueur, c'est un grand joueur pour nous. C'est un exemple pour nous, c'est petit frère déjà. Et sur le terrain, c'est quelqu'un d'assez dur et solide et intelligent aussi.
Having played for France's national deaf soccer team, his turn with Tonga Sport has been a long time coming. The team represents his ancestral home, the tiny island of Tonga.
Moi, je dirais que ça nous a enrichis. C'est-à-dire que nous, on a une culture forte, hein, culture kanak, culture calédonienne. Et puis, on a appris autre chose, qui est la culture sourde, que les enfants nous ont apporté, quoi. Parce qu'on en a 3. Et ça a été un enrichissement pour nous. Nous venons d'une petite île, Tonga, la plus petite île habitée de Calédonie. Et nos ancêtres nous ont toujours enseigné et nous demandaient d'être plus grands que notre île. Et finalement, que rien n'est impossible quand on veut. Et je pense que c'est le chemin que nous voulons qu'il trace.
In keeping with that mission, he's about to embark on a career as a sign language teacher, helping to make Kanaki New Caledonia more inclusive of his community.
D'accord, sans objectif.
Je sens que ça va être un exemple pour beaucoup, pas seulement pour les personnes ayant un handicap, mais pour l'ensemble des jeunes qui ont des rêves. C'est un bel exemple pour tout le monde.
Well, that's our show. Thank you for watching and thank you to Mas for being here.
Don't forget to check out ABC Pacific for all our stories from across the region.
Tēnā ka wai lewa na beto kore tuku mai ni, more manda.
Tō whāsoi fua.